The Orioles need a shot in the arm. Could that be Coby Mayo? I say it's going to start with this guy, Brandon Young, and he'll get called up to the bigs for the start on Saturday. Hello, everybody. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest. I wish I had better news today. We have a lot to cover, though. Why Brandon Young will get called up and pitch for the Birds on Saturday. I've been saying this should happen for weeks. Now it appears it is going to happen. I'm going to tell you why the O's need that shot in the arm. I'm going to tell you why Coby Mayo is in line for a promotion as well, because he's killing it at AAA as he always does. Another possible shot in the arm for the Orioles, plus a bunch of injury updates. We now know a timeline for Zach Eflin. We now know a timeline for Chase McDermott and Trevor Rogers and Kittredge and Cowser and all of these guys the Birds desperately need right now. Please like, subscribe, do all of the things, because we are with you all season long here on Orioles Digest. But let's get to it. I'm heading to the yard this weekend because I want to see up close and personal what's going on with the Birds. What I can tell you right now is the Orioles have not won a series yet. They are 6-10. They are 3.5 games behind in the East, which is lucky. Is it time to panic? No. Is it time to be concerned? Yes, it is time to be concerned, and I'm going to show you something. Be glad that this graphic is small, because this is an area to be concerned. This is the Orioles pitching worst in the AL, second worst in the majors, with a 4.66 ERA. You may say 4.66 doesn't sound that bad. This is total ERA. Add a run to that, and you have your starting pitching ERA. Starting pitching is a huge issue right now for the Birds because of all of these injuries, but I put the 6-10 start squarely on the lineup and the lack of hitting. Do you agree? Tell me in the comments. Do you blame the pitching? Do you blame the hitting? While the pitching has been clearly less than stellar, I put it on the lack of clutch hits and on the lineup, and just a lack of energy in that lineup day to day, the lineup that keeps changing, because to be fair, Brandon Hyde is trying to find something that works. Speaking of something that works, I have said this, not to toot my own horn, I've said this now for about 8 weeks. Brandon Young should be on the big league club. I say he will get called up and he will get the start on Saturday, and I will be there. I want you to look at a little bit of video for those of you who aren't super familiar with Brandon Young. I want you to look at some video, Brandon. This is the big 6'6" right-hander, and a little kind of montage of Young. You know, he made his debut in 2024. He was undrafted out of Louisiana Lafayette, but he won the Orioles Minor League Pitcher of the Year by going 5-4 with a 3.4 ERA, almost 100 strikeouts in 20 games over 89 innings. And look, this is a guy that doesn't basically blow away anybody with his fastball, but it averages 92 to 93. But he has 5 pitches. He can get them all over the plate. His four-seamer and his curveball and his slider and his changeup and a cutter all mixed up. He's a master at mixing up pitches. It is time for Brandon Young to come to the bigs, and I believe he'll get called up and he will make the start on Saturday, which is badly needed because the Orioles need a shot in the arm. These are Brandon Young's stats so far down on the farm. 2.76 with 17 strikeouts, 2 walks in his first 3 starts. It is time for Brandon. I think you'll see him Saturday, and I will keep you updated, of course. Somebody else knocking the cover off the ball in AAA, and here's a headline from Sports Illustrated today: Orioles star prospect making controversial demotion look like a huge mistake. And they're talking about Coby Mayo. I don't necessarily believe this premise. I don't think it was a mistake. Coby had a terrible spring. He did not hit well at the major league level. But what we can say about Coby is he's killing it at AAA. He always has, but this year he just looks a little bit crisper, a little bit sharper. He's 7 for 16 over his last 5 games. 2 games over the weekend, he hit a pair of homers. He reached base in all 9 of his plate appearances. This lineup needs a shot in the arm. I say, call him up. Call him up. It's early in the year. Let's see what he can do. The issue is, who do you then send down? And that's going to depend a lot on injuries and things of that sort. But I want to get your thoughts. Do you agree with me? Do you think Brandon Young starts Saturday and Coby Mayo, it's about time for him to be up in the bigs? You tell me. Here's why all of this is so important. We got a lot of injury updates from Mike Elias, starting with the not-so-good news. This is the Zach Eflin news. And again, you can read it for what it is, or you can read between the lines. So this is Elias saying Eflin continues to feel really good. He's going to start playing catch. We'll have to see how that goes, take it from there. So far, encouraging. And he's hopeful that his stay on the IL will be measured more in weeks than in months. That's the key sentence right there. Hopeful that it'll be more in weeks than in months. And that tells you, my friends, that, as we go back to Brandon Young, that tells you that Zach Eflin is not coming back anytime soon. So again, Brandon Young is going to be a key. In my opinion, Kyle Gibson will get called up as well. The Orioles have to piece it together because, as you can see, at the very least, you're probably talking about mid-May, late May for Zach Eflin. There's no timetable on Grayson Rodriguez. Some good news that we can point to actually is around Chase McDermott and Trevor Rogers. These 2 guys starting. This is Mike Elias talking about that. They're on similar timetables, lumping them together. Their velocity's up. They're ready to face live hitters in Florida, and they have the potential to put themselves in the conversation for activation before the end of May. So if all of this is true, at the end of May, you're probably looking at Zach Eflin back, hopefully McDermott and Rogers back as well. We have to see how Young performs, how Gibson performs, but we got to get to the end of May as well. And, one saving grace is we got good news on Andrew Kittredge. He's going to be back before the end of May as well. So at this point, pitching-wise, we got to look at this as 2 seasons. We got to look at it as from now till the end of May, how do we get there? And I say it's probably going to be Brandon Young, Kyle Gibson really piecing it together. And hopefully we get a lot of these guys back. And then it's from June 1 on. What happens then? Do we have a healthy Zach? Is Grayson coming back? What's happening later in the season with Bradish? What's happening with Tyler Wells and all of that? The other piece of injury news that we got real quickly is around Colton Cowser, which call up here. Again, not great news. Looking at early June for Colton. He's got the broken bone in the tip of his thumb. This is Mike Elias again saying he's working hard. We know that. He can't predict how quickly the bone's going to heal. Early June is the target for Colton Cowser. So again, none of this news particularly great news for the Birds. And as we told you too, a couple other baby birds, Enrique Bradfield Jr., Samuel Basayo, also both out as well down on the farm. And just a quick note, the Orioles picked up Chadwick Trump. He's a kind of a AAA catcher. Picked him up because Basayo's hurt. The backup catcher down there is hurt as well. So look, the Orioles have to start to figure it out. Injuries, and I believe Mike Elias said this, injuries are a factor but not an excuse. And at this point, the Orioles lineup has to step up because the pitching staff is so banged up. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest. We will keep you updated. Please like, subscribe, all the things.